Hey guys, welcome to our channel. My name is Mau and with me is Jeremy and this is our channel Beyond the Black Tag. Jeremy, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, my brother. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Lucky for us, we are different, not lucky, I guess, unlucky for us. We're at different places. You are all the way in KZN, I'm all the way in Cape Town, and we can't sit down on one couch and have hot chocolate. But we make it work. We make it
One
work.
day is one
We
day.
make it work.
One day is one day.
Yeah. But I think let's just jump straight into it. Introductions. Who are you? Just tell me a little bit about yourself. Who's Jeremy? We don't know you.
Sweet. So my name is Jeremy Chakadama. I am 22 years old. Yeah, I'm a musician. I'm a singer. I love to sing. All my companions, my mother, everyone can testify to it. Whether they were annoyed or not, that's another story. But I know I did it all the time. Um, I'm a singer. I don't know. I love to do, you know. I tend to love to do things. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I never used to like reading. But I'm getting into reading now. But like you tell me to do something and I will do it, you know. I might take my own time to do it, but I'm gonna do it, you know, and I'll try and do it the best way that I can and things like that. So I like to do things. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, that's simply me, returned missionary, home for 9 months since my mission. That's the craziest thing. It's only been 9 months. Feels like it's been an eternity already. But yeah, I'm that's me simply. I don't know if there's anything more I need to say, but I love food. That's an important thing. I love food.
Okay. Any particular food? Any particular food that you like?
I'm a junk man. I love burgers and chips.
Okay. All right. I am a Mau. I come from George. Okay, so in the Western Cape,
Oh,
very
wow.
beautiful. I think the most beautiful city in South Africa. Nobody can tell me differently. It's very beautiful. It's some people say it's people go to retire, and I agree. I mean, if you had millions in your bank account and you wanted to just spend it with your loved ones, you probably want to go to the best place. And I think that's kind of what George is. You know, it's just this nice enclosure. I also am a returned missionary like yourself. I served in Johannesburg. I served in Johannesburg, and then and then I came back. But yeah, man, just working right now. Married to a lovely, lovely wife. Okay, the best wife in the world. Everybody else gets second place. But
They better.
yeah,
They better get second place.
yeah, they do. They unfortunately, you know, but second place is not bad. Silver medal is not bad. But yeah, so Jeremy, let's talk about mission. You spoke about mission. What is mission? Is it like Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise? What is mission?
So mission is 2 years that are dedicated to the Lord. It's 2 years that we as individuals, whether you're a brother or sister, you dedicate these 2 years to serving the Lord. You are going out and teaching people about his gospel, teaching about, you know, our living God and his son, Jesus Christ, whom has sacrificed himself for us. We're spreading the good news, spreading the gospel. We're really, a mission is an opportunity to serve. And it's a huge opportunity to serve because that's all you're doing for 2 years. You're trying not to think of yourself, not to think of your issues, not to think about your home or your family, but you're going out and just serving people you have no clue about. You know, like you said, you served in Joburg, I also served in Joburg. You were going to, I'm from KZN, I have no clue who is in Joburg, and I go out into the streets of Soweto, Roodepoort, Joburg, CBD, and I'm just going to teach all these different people, these different cultures, these different languages, especially Joburg being known for the amount of languages that are there. and the business that is there. You know, you're just coming across a whole lot of different people you have no clue about, but you're here to learn to love them, learn to serve them and share with them this thing that has helped you or me growing up, you know? So that's simply what I can tell you about a mission.
Okay, and is it like who can serve? Because I heard you mentioning it's 2 years you can go and dedicate your life to that. Is it guys only? And like, is it only here in South Africa that people serve?
No, so you know, we're a church, we're a global church, so it's people from all over the world. And you know, for brethren, for guys, we go at the age of 18. After high school, you're eligible to go. You put in the application, and essentially you pay for yourself to go on this mission. You're volunteering this time, and we serve for 2 years, 24 months. For sisters, it's a bit different right now. They go at the age of 19, which is still after high school, and they go and serve for 18 months. The why about that, that is an interesting conversation on its own.
Look, I mean, you've covered most things of what a mission is. It's exactly that, right? It's you volunteering your time. You don't get paid. Imagine being broke for 2 years or 18 months. That's exactly what it is. But it's a totally fulfilling, rewarding experience, giving two prime years. I think that's important to say, you know.
Yeah.
It's prime years. It's years where people are getting their degrees, you know, people are getting their life in order. People are investing, and whatever it is that people do in just the years after they come out of high school, those are the years you're giving up to go and volunteer to serve people. So that's the first thing I would say about it is it's just there's no payment for it. It's totally voluntary. And it's hard, you know, there's a rigid schedule, you know, every day you have to wake up. I don't know what military is like, but I imagine it's pretty close to what it is, you know.
Yeah,
you
that's
have to wake up at a certain time every day. You have to be out of the house at a certain time. You have to eat at a certain time. You have to study at a certain time. You have meetings upon meetings upon meetings. You have to sometimes when your day does not go as planned, you have to go knock on people's doors for you know get doors banged in your face.
At least you had doors
Which is why yeah which is why a lot of people who have done this, who've served for either this 18 months or 24 months or even 36 months, you know, older couples,
right,
they are pretty good in things like sales, you know, or jobs where they get a lot of rejection. They're like, I've dealt with this for 2 years, I'm fine, you know. You don't have to. Or if you go back to dating, you know, you're trying to meet the girl of your dreams and she says no. You're not the first time to say no, you know.
We've got a teaching pool. We've got a pool of
yeah,
people
no, exactly. So yeah, but that's all I would add to that, to say anybody can go who's eligible, member of the church, of course, of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. There's structure, there's organization, males and females can go. And yeah, it's just a very rewarding time, especially for the person who goes. I think sometimes people think, you know, I'm out there to bless other people, which exactly you're doing.
So true.
But in the process, you find yourself, you know, you find the joys of life, you know, you meet all kinds of people in life. So yeah. Jeremy, why this conversation? Why the conversation on return missionaries and missionaries at this time? Why this conversation?
That is a hefty question. I believe, you know, you and I are from two different time zones of mission, you know. You served your time from what's 2018 to 2020. I served from 2020 to 2022. So both were ended up, I began in COVID, you ended in COVID, you know. Those were some stressful times that we went through, but I think the important part is like afterwards, you know, like the why we're having this conversation is because after mission is a very tough time for every individual, every return missionary that comes. I've met and spoken to a lot of people who have served missions, and a lot of the people who, when I came home from mission, they started saying that, yeah, mission was hard. This is the hard part. Coming back home is the hard part. And I didn't want to believe them because it's like it's a lot, you know. Why should I go through this? But they did mention it, and now I was always aware. And I think it's so important for us to speak about it because there's so many things we don't speak about, so many issues that go untold, so many stories that go untold that we we lose we lose the plot of how it is to come home, and we also feel like we're alone. You know, when I came home, I felt like I was alone, although there was many other guys that served the mission, but I felt alone. You know, I felt like I was the only one going through this, but I knew that I wasn't, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and as well as for us as in South Africa, we have a totally different, you know, demographic compared to the guys that come to South Africa from their homes in America. They go back
Yeah.
home to a totally different demographic and a group of people that are very different to us, you know. Challenges are similar though, but we've got our own like specially made, you know, tailor-made, you know, challenges for us. So I think us speaking about that will really get to a host of individuals who face this RM life. You know, they've spoken about um, PMD, post-mission depression. That is a real thing, you know, and it happens differently for all of us. It's a really good
Yeah.
thing to talk about.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You're not alone. And I think that will probably be the key message to anybody who comes home is,
Right.
look, whatever challenges come, there are many others who have faced similar challenges and can most likely help you
Right.
in your own journey. I like that. I think another important aspect of this conversation is, just a cool story.
Go
Elder
for it.
Holland, who's an apostle of the church,
Yeah.
um, came and visited South Africa actually in 2019.
Oh, this
And
story.
yeah. 2019 November, he came through. It was on my birthday, by the way. So that he came specifically for me, is what I like to think. He came for me because it was on my birthday. But he said something interesting about missionaries, particularly return missionaries. He says, these people, these young people, they go out, they leave their home countries, they leave their homes and go serve for 18 months or 2 years. And they teach principles, right?
Right.
Powerful principles. They touch the lives of people. They serve. They believe things. Then they come home, and it's almost as if there's something that happens there, and we don't believe these things anymore.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, or you told somebody have faith. Somebody's struggling with something. You like have faith, and then you go through similar challenges, and you're like, okay,
Like, oh, I can't do this.
God, come on, what's happening? And I think that's important to say, like Elder Holland was saying, that's not okay, right? You can't
Right.
go there for these many months and tell people to do one thing and then come home and be totally
Another
unchanged,
thing.
right? Or be totally thrown out by life and not stick to the things that you were telling other people to do. If you're telling people every day, study your scriptures, telling people every day, go to church,
Right.
pray, serve people. You ought to be doing the same things, So
Yeah.
so that's kind of what he said, and I think that's also the conversation, and the reason for that, to say, if that's not been your ideal as a return missionary, or just as somebody who's trying to live a good life as a Christian, what are those challenges, and how can we navigate through them?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like that. I served from April 2018 till May 2020.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd been in university. I'd done my studies, I'd passed, and then the mission call came while I was still pursuing my undergrad degree. And I had to go. It's something that I always wanted to do.
Crazy.
And I came to a really nice culture. The mission president himself was in the middle of his mission, so I feel like he was
He was settled in.
I think he was used to, yeah, he was settled in, you know, he wasn't new. But also the missionaries that I was serving with, they were really great guys. I'd heard of things that had happened before my time, which I was grateful not to have been part of. You know, I just came to a really nice culture, and my first area was Swaziland, Eswatini.
Oh my goodness.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful,
Your
beautiful
first one?
place. Yeah. Only the
Great.
favorites were chosen to go to Swaziland, you know. So, so that's why I was chosen to go.
Don't worry. I fall under the favorites. I know that
Oh, is
now.
it? Okay. Yeah. So I went there, and I was trained by you know, Elder Brown, who was about to finish his mission pretty soon after that. He had 9 weeks left. And we just had a very fun time. Very fun time. Very hard. I think one of my first shockers on mission was, this is hard, you know. Again, the routine. I'm not used to waking up at 6:25 every day. You know, I wake up at whatever time I want to wake up. Obviously, when you're in school, you have to wake up around those times. But after having having been home or at university, you'll probably wake up around the time your first lecture starts. And so and so here I am waking up at this time. There's a schedule. You have to study it from this time. You do your personal study, then you have to do companionship study where you study with this person, and you have to review the day, the people you're seeing, people you have to meet, and the lessons you're going to teach them. And that's kind of what it was. Again, it was a totally amazing experience. I don't want to dwell too much on what was happening on the mission, other than to say that amazing people met, amazing stories, amazing circumstances to be able to witness and to say, I was able to be part of this person's story, you know. Maybe a single mother, you know, who's raising her children all on her own,
Right.
and doesn't know where to turn or what to do. And you're able to say, look, silver and gold have I none, you know, but I can give you this, you know, I can give you these principles to live by, and you do it, you know, and to see people who apply the principles taught, how that transformed them. So yeah, but just again, because we're speaking of timelines,
Yeah.
midway, just over midway my mission, we were introduced to smartphones. So up to this point, we're using Dilili, right? We're using
So
this.
2019, right?
Yeah. 2018, 2019, we were using these Dilili phones, and then late 2019, they told us we're going to get smartphones. Oh, we were excited. Now I'm going to have a smartphone. Yeah. I'll be able to take pictures and have social media. But it was also a very scary thing, because now all of a sudden you have access to Facebook, you have access to social media, to WhatsApp, which you've been told for the past year and a half you can't use. You know, you can only email on Monday for 2 hours, and that's it. You know, and so it was a very weird time to really be in, but exciting as well. You know, and then we ushered that in. We started working with that. We were limping forward with it, because again, we were the pioneers to it. We had to switch our manual area books, which were pen and paper, onto the phone or onto the app, and that was not nice. You know,
my goodness!
Records upon records upon records that we had to update.
We're grateful.
And guys like you were beneficiaries, because it just came to a nice area book.
We're grateful for people like you, I promise you.
Yeah, no, you better. But yeah, but just speaking of that time period, when COVID hit, that was very, very hard. For everybody that was involved. Look, the world's over, you know, everywhere in the world, people felt the effects of that. And it certainly affected missionary work, because we were able to go to people's homes, sit down with them, eat their lovely food. Now we just have to meet over a screen like this, you know, and people that don't have data, especially here in SA, there's no Wi-Fi, there's no data, and it was very, very, very difficult. You couldn't go to church. You couldn't really set goals such as baptismal goals, because you do not know when the restrictions were going to be lifted and things like that. So it was hard, and I saw a lot of people, both men and women that I served with at the time, fall into some sort of depression, because it almost feels like your purpose has been stripped away from you. I have to sit in this flat every day. I have to wake up at the same time, get dressed, look nice, but I'm not going anywhere. That's it was very hard. It was a very hard time to be in. But yeah, that's kind of when I served. That's the time period in which I served.
Sure. It's crazy because your time period, so you were in 2018 to 2020, and then there was what you said May of 2020 you went home. I came in.
I extended a little bit.
You're a legend. I give that to you. Not many of us would do such a thing. But yeah, you said you had May 2020. I came on mission September of 2020. And so I'm still with those old dogs of pre-mission. And as you know, that the missionaries that were serving in like surrounding countries, or South Africans who serving in the countries outside, had to come back into South Africa. So we had some of them who were serving in Zimbabwe, Zambia, Ghana, all these other African countries, and they've come back to their home country, and they're serving with us. So my trainer, whom I love, his name is Yonela Mafundichala. He served in the Zimbabwe. You know him, yeah. You love the guy too.
Love him.
Right? He served in the Zimbabwe Harare mission, and one of the things you talk about is how different the missions are, and just how how hectic it is to go from walking and knocking doors to this. So now I'm a COVID baby who was born on the cell phone. I'm born on social media, born on the area book and things like that. And I don't have the perspective that you have of walking and knocking doors, but we went from a time where we were getting rid of, that's a terrible way to say it, but essentially getting rid of all those older missionaries who had served the missions like that, to now only having missionaries who have come out after COVID. So all of that experience, was going down the drain. But we had a mission president. I got a taste of President Levitt because he was still here for a couple of months because my mission president hadn't come yet because of COVID.
Yeah.
President Nielsen. He comes through and he sees this issue and he addresses it immediately, and tries to say, all you old people, you teach the young people, and you young people, you will be leaders. As soon as it comes, and you're going to keep teaching those new young people, running it like kind of like a business, but not exactly, He was very like profound and spiritual in how he dealt with those, the transfers and the things. So, and like you said, only the legend served in Swaziland. That was I served there twice. I just have to put it out there.
Okay.
But just to say that you guys came out as legends, when I came on mission, because I heard names like Mjobile and Kunjuzwa, those are the names that came out, and I was like, I wish I got to meet these guys. And fortunately, I met you. I think that was like a 3/4 way of my mission. I met you in Joburg. And I was like, so this is the guy. I've got a picture of him on a mug in my flats. You need to go get that mug of yours, man. And it's just like, an insane time on mission to know that there's these legends, and then there's you who is trying to make do with what you have and leading a mission that has no clue. It feels like we have no clue what we're doing. We've got our own new set of challenges. I can't really go back to my trainer and being like, hey, how do you deal with this situation when this situation is so new to the mission? We had to kind of just like take it from there and being like, cool, we just have to do something about it and get something done. It was very intricate. It was weird, but it was fun at the end of the day. If you didn't have fun, it was literally your fault. We managed.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what a
Exactly.
mission is. Look, you find ways to have fun
Yeah.
amidst the hardship. Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. Okay, that's amazing, Jeremy. Look, and I mean, and you came home, you served faithfully. I was able to be a part of your mission a little bit and see you serve as a missionary. You served amazing. You trained great guys, and you come home, right? And what was the biggest cultural shock for you when you got home? What was the biggest challenge?
So my biggest challenge was, so on mission we serve with a companion. Every single area you serve with someone else. So in a flat, it's two guys every time. If you're a sister, it's two sisters. But for us it's two guys in a flat all day, every day. Whether we're stuck indoors because of COVID or we're driving to go and teach, we'll go anywhere and everywhere together. We'll shop together, we will go and teach together, we'll go and play sports together. And so there was always someone to talk to, or always someone to not talk to. You knew he existed, you know.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
there was always somebody there that if you needed something or needed to say something, there's someone who could hear you. Whether he listened or not, you either had an individual or a wall to speak to. It worked, So for myself, who's a talkative person and who had many issues and loved someone to talk to, that was my first issue. I came home and it's just me, and I'm just like, what? I was fortunate enough in my first week to have my trainer, bring me back, train me back to life. But once he left, it was now just like it was me. Like I would walk with my mom in the shop all the time, and then eventually I was like, wait, I can walk on my own, I can go and look for my own things,
Yeah.
But mom wasn't always around. Kudzai, my little sister, was um at school and stuff. I had a new phone, no one to talk to, and stuff. So I'm just like, what do I do? I want to talk to someone. I want to tell people about my mission. I'm just, this thing happened and like it's done, So that was my biggest issue. I don't have somebody to talk to as much as I want, And yeah, that was definitely my biggest hit as
Yeah.
a return missionary.
Yeah, and I can imagine that. I mean, look, imagine going from strict rules is this person that you're with cannot be out of your sight and out of your sound to you're all alone. I can imagine how tough it might be.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I mean, I experienced similar challenges. Came home, people are just doing their own thing, and it felt like everybody was weird. But in actual
Yeah.
fact, I think the returning missionary is the weird one because you're the one who's been away. Everybody's just stayed there, and things have stayed the same. But you're the weird one,
Yeah.
And yeah, so it was really very very weird. Family, it just felt weird to be around them. It felt weird not to have a schedule anymore. Yeah, and just I wake up and do what do I do? In fact, I think one of the first things I did was ask my bishop for does he know anybody who's giving out work? I'll work for free. I said, look,
Right.
I'll work for free, like rather than stay here at home and
Yeah.
just try to find something to do. I was just going crazy. So yeah, the sense of purpose that's lacking, I think, is one of the
Yeah.
shockers. I think it's one of the things that make it hard. Now, because of that, Jeremy, because of the culture shock of coming back home and things are
Yeah.
different and you're different and people are different, some people can kind of go into this depressive state, right? But how would you say, now this is a question that I think is really, really important, okay, for
Yeah.
anybody who's listening and could be in this situation. How do you suggest, or how can somebody keep strong? Either from your own experience, how did you keep strong? But also generally, how can somebody who's coming from a mission and they experience that, how can they keep strong and keep to the principles that they taught others to live?
Woo! That is a heavy question. One of the things that funny enough, we spoke about it in Institute. It's two things for me. It's two things for me. It has to do with community and testimony. What helped me a ton when I came back home was finding a community, a group of guys who've gone through the same thing. Fortunately, in my ward, there were guys that had come back from mission, and one was still coming back from Joburg because he was in school. And then we had there was two that were there. So and then there was one still coming back from his mission in January. So by the time that last one came back from his mission in January, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us. All 5 of us, who would get together and just go and have fun, and talk about mission, laugh about things. The one was still preparing to serve mission. He's gone now. So the group is much smaller now, but that at that time was very good for me. The other one was, testimony. In Institute, we spoke about how you build on top of a firm foundation, right? Mission set up a foundation for us, and it gave us that through the learning and the teaching and everything, the experiences, we have a foundation. When you get home, you need to figure out how to build, because we have the tools to build when we come home, but we don't know how to use them necessarily, especially for being home. We know how to do it on mission because it's a specific environment. We need to learn how to build when we're here. So we get home, and we need to learn how to build. And sometimes we give up on building and forget about building. And we just think that, oh, the foundation's okay how it is. Sleeping on a foundation is not the most comfortable thing. I'd rather continue building the house and then have a bed and, a warm heater or whatever, and everything like that, So we need to focus on building on what we have and actually grow. And you can't just let the testimony be the foundation, because if you stop working on your testimony, then it begins to get softer and crack, and then it's over.
Yeah.
So those are two things that have helped me quite a lot.
Mm-hmm. Speaking on your first point of community, credit goes to Vusite Maguire for this. Somebody else may have said it, but I heard it from him. Speaking of the worst punishment given to prisoners. Okay, so apparently the worst punishment given to prisoners is what is this thing called? Isolation. What is the word? It's coming. I forgot but it's basically isolation, right?
Okay.
And imagine that, the worst.
Okay.
You would think you would think the worst punishment is will torture you or something.
Or beating.
Will beat you. No, it's let's go put this person in isolation, right? Solitary confinement. That's the word I'm looking for. Let's go put them in solitary confinement where they are all alone. They only see light for 1 hour in the day. And and that's the worst, because it breaks them down mentally, right? It breaks the person down mentally. Now imagine that. People in COVID experienced that, right? We were all in lockdown. But the same is true for somebody who's coming home. You're different. Right. Nobody's like you. You don't have people around you. I imagine that could quickly break you down mentally if you don't have that community. And so I like what you said about maybe the one of the first things to do is try to get a sense of community, get friends, get common friends that you can hang out with, people with the same values. Get a calling in church. I think that helps a lot.
Yes.
Learn to serve again, because that's another thing that kills people is you've just been serving for your life, and you come home and okay, you can chill now, you can rest, which is nice at first, because I'm like, I can rest, but then over time you're like, okay, I need something to do. So yeah, I like that. I like it. So one of the things you would say would be to definitely focus on that. Focus on building community, building friendships. Do not isolate yourself, because that is when the enemy gets you.
Easily. Earlier
on, Jeremy, before we started shooting this, you were sharing with me something you were reading, and I think that's a really, really, really wonderful thing, just for those who are listening and watching this, to think about as a remedy towards losing their testimony, losing their momentum when they get home. Do you mind sharing that?
Yeah, I've actually got it open here. It's in Alma chapter 38, verse 5, the Book of Mormon, another testament of Christ, of Jesus Christ. It says, this is in a time when Alma is busy talking to his sons. I love these, like, I love these so much because he takes the time to speak to each son individually, each child, and he's giving them each individual things to learn. He's telling them, all of them, he's telling them about how he became a man of God, how he converted, because he wanted to destroy the church in his day. Then he converted and became this new person, kind of similar to Saul and Paul, how he used to be Saul, then became Paul, became anew,
Yeah.
And he's teaching his sons about this and giving them each words of comfort and things that they need to do for themselves in their lives. And Shiblon is his son here. I like to change the word Shiblon and put my name, as he speaks. So Alma chapter 38, verse 5 reads as follows: "And now, my son, Shiblon, I would that ye should remember. Remember as much as ye shall put your trust in God, even so much ye shall be delivered out of your trials and your troubles and your afflictions, and ye shall be lifted up at the last day." I love that scripture because he simply just says that we need to remember that the Lord is there. If we trust in the Lord, he's going to help us. He's going to put us through those trials and troubles, each of the problems that we face on mission and off mission. He's proven to us on mission that he can deal with our issues and our problems. Now we're going to test him after mission and say, well, you did it for me once. Can you do it now? And that's us remembering that he can do this. Now he will continue to do this.
Yeah, that's lovely. I think that's a very lovely high note to leave it on. I think that's a beautiful thing to always think about. Remembrance. Remember. I think, in fact, the reason we're given such powerful experiences is so that we can have something to remember when things are tough. You are only given an experience so that you can hold on to it when you no longer have that experience. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I think that's where we'll leave it for today. Please catch us every week on Wednesdays. We also catch us on Sundays when we have more of a gospel discussion, and we're just focusing more on Sunday school things. Please let us know in the comments below what you would like to see improved and what we can add and the kind of guests we can bring in as well. All right.
As we will go about learning and growing about how we can survive in this modern world after our missions. It's a very hard time for all of us, and let us be your people. Let us be your community.
Cheers.